Yeah, they are the Bills, 56% on third down, but it's 3rd and 10, throwing into the wind, way down the field. Oh my goodness! This is going to be 98 yards to Gabe Davis.
Damn!
Welcome back to another video on the channel today, guys. In today's video, we're going to be counting down the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL as of right now. Now, before we get started into the actual list, I want to give a few honorable mentions. Those are guys that are just outside the top 10. You can make an argument that they're top 10, but I'd have them just outside for right now. That's going to be guys like Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, and Geno Smith. But let's go ahead and get into the top 10 list. As per usual, make sure to put your opinions in the comments down below. I want to hear what your top 10 quarterback list is. Also, if I forgot to mention a quarterback that you think should definitely belong in the top 10, make sure to let me know. Starting off with number 10, I have Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers last year wasn't great. He wasn't the Aaron Rodgers that we have been accustomed to seeing since he took over as the starter in Green Bay. But I think with a new, fresh start in New York, he's got good young receivers, especially, guys like Garrett Wilson, got a great running back in Breece Hall. I think he's going to be closer to what he was in his peak Green Bay form than he was last season. I also think that at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers throughout his career has proven that he is one of the most gifted and talented throwers of the football that we have ever seen. So for that reason, I have to have him at least in the top 10. I put him right at number 10. At number 9, I had to go with Tua. Now, Tua last season was excellent when he was on the field. If Tua can play a full season, or at least most of a season, and be healthy, I think he could really ascend himself into top 5 quarterback range. Now, the problem is that he's younger and he hasn't had too much experience, and he's missed a lot of games with concussion. The good news is that he proved last year that his decision-making and his accuracy are amongst the NFL's best. And with his 2 elite receivers in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, I don't know why Tua wouldn't be amongst the league leaders in many passing categories. And then going into number 8, this guy is one of the most controversial players to rank in the entire NFL. People love him and think he's a top 3 quarterback, I've heard, and people think that he's dog shit in bottom 5. Number 8 for me is going to be Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He is. He's proven that. He's had years of success with the Cowboys. Now, I think there's a line to be drawn in the sand where you can differentiate the good quarterbacks from the elite guys, and as we'll see later on in this list, but Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. The Cowboys offense under Dak has consistently been good to great. He puts up good numbers. I know he had struggles with interceptions in years past, but to be completely honest with you, Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. He's a good athlete, and again, not great. He's a good athlete. He's got good arm strength. He's got good accuracy. Dak Prescott, to me, just screams the word good. Nothing more, nothing less, just a good quarterback. And apart from a few seasons, he's been pretty good about staying on the field for the vast majority of the season. And then I think there's a big gap in between my next guy on this list. That's going to be Trevor Lawrence at number 7. Listen, I loved what he did with the Jaguars last year. He proved that he was worth the hype of that first overall pick. And I think last season was his breakout year. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to continue to ascend, but at this current moment, he's really only had one good season, so I can't really put him higher than 6 or 7, I don't think. I debated putting him in top 5, but I thought that was a little aggressive, especially, he only had one good year. But I expect Trevor Lawrence to move up significantly in the list, but for right now, I think he's at number 7. And number 6, this is a reason why I couldn't put Trevor Lawrence higher than he was. That's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is an MVP caliber player, quite literally. He's one of the most unique talents that the league has ever seen. He is the best runner of the football at the quarterback position ever, point blank, period. I think his passing skills are also very underrated. People do not respect Lamar Jackson. The fans don't respect Lamar Jackson as a passer as much as they should. Getting into my top 5, these guys are the elite of the elite. They're the creme de la crop. That is going to be starting off with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert is a phenomenal talent. Ever since he burst onto the scene with the Chargers, I've always felt that the Chargers could be a much better team around him and that they didn't support him enough to go and make a playoff push like they should. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Justin Herbert is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the entire NFL. He puts up eye-popping numbers, and I think now that he finally has a legitimate offensive coordinator, a legitimately good one, in Kellen Moore, I think the Chargers offense is going to ascend to another level. Now, there is the concern of the fact that he hasn't won a playoff game yet in his young career, and they did choke the lead away to the Jaguars. I'm not going to put all the blame for that on Justin Herbert, obviously, but that is something that you still need to check off. You can only blame the Chargers team for so long. I do need to see some playoff wins here soon, but I can't ignore the talent. I can't ignore the clutch gene. I can't ignore the tantalizing throws that he makes down the field. And I think that he's the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. Getting into my top 4, I think everybody's top 4 should be the same. If we watch football, we can pretty much tell that these are the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL. You can debate a few of these names around, but I think this is also probably the best order to put them in. And number 4 is going to be Jalen Hurts. This is kind of a similar situation to Trevor Lawrence, being that this is his one great year, but his floor will always be higher than Trevor Lawrence because of his rushing ability. So even if he's having a hard time throwing the ball through the air, which he didn't at all last year, he'll be able to gain significant yardage and make big plays with his legs. But like I said, last year he really stepped up as a passer and was able to run that Eagles offense pretty much as efficiently as you could. Now, he does benefit from a really stacked roster around him, I will admit. But, you know, I think it says a lot that he was able to have such a great performance in the Super Bowl, minus one little play. He was able to have such a good performance, threw for 2 touchdowns, ran for 2 touchdowns. He was the MVP of that game had the Eagles won that game. Number 3 is Josh Allen, the current Madden cover athlete. Hopefully that doesn't curse him to progress in his career. But Josh Allen is at 3. One of the most talented young guys in the NFL. Really was the prototype for taking that big leap in year 3. Ever since then, he's been dominant. And ever since then, the Bills have been sort of Super Bowl contenders. Josh Allen is kind of like if you built a quarterback in a lab. You know, he's 6'5", he's thick, he's fast. He's got a strong fucking arm, and this is an underrated trait. He is able to throw the ball very, very well in the cold. And for playing for a team like the Buffalo Bills, that is an attribute that is absolutely necessary to be a good quarterback for that team. Turnovers are a problem, yes. But for being as good as he's been for this many years, he deserves a spot in the top 3. Top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. Again, you might have a problem with me putting Josh Allen at 3, but at 2 is going to be Joe Burrow. To me, they're this close. I like Joe Burrow a little bit more because I feel like his playoff success has been better. The Bengals have been winners in the playoffs the last couple of years, getting to at least the AFC Championship, where the Bills kind of haven't done that for a few years. So for that reason, I'm going to put Joe Burrow above Josh Allen. He's also a little bit more accurate. Now, it is fair to say that Joe Burrow has better receiving core, and he's got a better offense in general. But I will give Joe Burrow just a slight edge over Josh Allen. I don't know if you guys remember, but before Joe Burrow got to Cincinnati, the Bengals franchise was a fucking joke. They hadn't won a playoff game in like 16, 17 years. They were totally unserious every year when they would make the wild card round with Andy Dalton. Everybody knew they weren't going to do shit. But Joe Burrow has completely turned that team around, turned them into legitimate Super Bowl contenders. I mean, they were about a play or 2 away from winning the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and I credit a lot of that to Joe Burrow. So there you have it. And then number 1 is a dandy surprise, Patrick Mahomes. I don't need to tell you guys why Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. You guys watch football, you get it. It's really not a debate. I don't think he is kind of a slice ahead the rest of these guys, just in terms of accolades, statistics, dominance, patience with his wife. But seriously, if you clicked on this video and you expected me to say anybody else but Patrick Mahomes for number 1, reevaluate your life. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But that is going to do it for my top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL video. I plan on doing more positions like running back, receiver, tight end, kicker, long snapper. So if you guys want to see those videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. Don't forget to eat your vegetables and stay off drugs. Stay off drugs.